suspenseful, isn't
She's
it?
going to sing Thriller and you're going to dance.
We're going to have a little floor show up here. I'm Joelle, hi. This is my first young adult novel. I have to admit, when writing it, I wasn't sure it was a young adult novel. In my adult novels, I am not allowed to kill kids or teens, or I'm technically not supposed to injure animals, although I think I break that rule on more than one occasion. So I'm not supposed to have anything gory, or I write lighter traditional mysteries. I'm wacky, and these books not so much. These are, well, let's just say I really didn't like my SAT when I was in 7th grade. I got to take the SAT as a 7th grader. It was an honor. You did really well on tests, so they tell you, hey, it's an honor. You get to go to this college and take this test with all of these high school students that are also taking it. It's this enormous, massive test that takes all day, and you get to give up your Saturday to do it. It's an honor. So I went for this honor. I actually have friends, by the way, that really loved doing that in 7th grade so much they did it in 8th grade too, and can we say not so much for me. I was kind of scarred to death by the idea that you would take a test and just getting something wrong wasn't bad enough. Like, okay, you don't get the point. Part of the SATs is if you don't get something right and you've guessed and you can't narrow it down enough, you lose points. I really hated that idea. The idea that I could be penalized for giving the wrong answer. Well, I kind of made that worse in this book. And the idea of this book really came about. I teach teens. I teach singing. And not dancing, but I do teach singing. And every year I help the kids go through their college admissions process. And every year it gets harder. It's really amazing how much harder it is now from the time that, I haven't been out of college that long. And the kids that want to go into music theater and into opera, they don't have to just apply to a couple of schools and they're going to get in and there's no problem. If they want to go to any of the top schools, they have to apply to 10 to 12 of them in the effort of getting like one to say yes. And between going every weekend, they're going off to auditions. Sometimes they have 2 auditions in a week. It's the most stressful period of life for these poor kids. And they're very hyper aware that anything they do in their interview or anything is going to perhaps cause them to not get in. Okay, they get a great audition, but now they have an interview afterwards talking to the teachers, and now the teachers just don't like them for whatever reason. And they're all kind of freaking out. I had one student that was freaking out a little bit more than others. She's a little high strung. Hey, they're the theater kids. They're supposed to be high strung, right? And she was lamenting the fact that if this is the worst that I had seen it, how much worse was it going to be for the kids who are freshmen now, and they were going to torture them even more. And I told her, don't worry, this is the worst it could possibly get. Now the mom and parent me really hopes that's true, but the writer kind of went, I wonder what could be worse. Of course, for that to happen, then I had to kind of figure out what world would this something worse be allowed in. Because let's face it, I don't think they really allow that nowadays. Our testing is pretty bad, but I don't think they'd allow some of these things to happen. So I kind of had to go to a future place in which the world has been broken, and I'm kind of in the environmental category as well, where we've had, the world has ended, bombs dropped, but there's been so much chemical and biological warfare that has happened that we've taken the world to the brink in which people now have to figure out how to fix it. The water is corrupted, the ground is corrupted, things don't grow well. So science is really a very important part of who the next leaders of this country are. And in this, the kids they're recolonizing the country, trying to recolonize it like the first 13 original colonies and fix in each spot what they broke. And in this case, there are some separation amongst the colonies, and the kids desperately would, want to be chosen for the testing. They want to sit for this test to possibly get a college education and become one of the next leaders. Of course, they might not know what's coming. Like I thought the SAT sounded like a really good idea until I learned about that quarter point. So, the testing will be out actually next Tuesday, so it isn't even out yet. And at BEA, they're doing ARC giveaways for book 2 of it, will be Independent Study, and that comes out in January. And I'm desperately revising book 3 right now, which comes out next June. Yeah, they have me on a really fast schedule.
Just stop panic, people. The book is here. You can buy it and sign. Just don't tell anyone at our publisher.
It's a really big secret, and since we all know it, but they're really shiny if nothing else. So.